Give a warm Victoria welcome, Charlie Angus.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. No passaran. No passaran. Oh my God, it's so good to be home. Home is Canada. Home is every town in this country that I've ever been in. For the first time, I knew I was home. And to come home to James Bay, it looks so different. I mean, seriously different. Where'd you get all those flowers, James Bay? We don't got flowers. We're just getting set for polar bear season back in our James Bay. It's so important to be here tonight. It's beautiful to be in a church because we're in a time when we have been dislocated from each other and we've been left feeling that we're on our own. And we need to find the roots that we come from because we didn't think we needed our roots. But our roots are all over us. Our roots are on the traditional territories that we recognize. Our roots are the fact that I was an altar boy. Can you imagine that? I was a heckler even then. And our roots are with each other. And this is what we are fighting to protect. And damn right we are going to fight and defend it. Because that's what makes us Canadian. And we're going to talk about that tonight. And I want to pay respect that we have the signers here, the ASL. This is who we are as well. Because we are a nation of inclusion. Our diversity doesn't make us weak. Our diversity makes us unbeatable. And so when I look at those rageful, MAGA, incel haters who are so freaked out by pronouns, of all things, of course you're never going to have the guts to come across our border because we don't really worry about pronouns here. We've got bigger fish to fry, and we're going to be frying your fish, Mr. MAGA. I was going to start off by talking about the latest idiocy.
Which one?
I know. That's the problem. It's actually a strategy.
Yeah.
But Steve Bannon said it. It's to flood the zone with shit. I didn't know I could swear in a church, but these are desperate times. That they want us to feel dislocated and confused. And they don't care that we laugh at them. It's what makes them dangerous. So laughter has two edges to it. On the one side, it is important to look in their face and know they have no power except the power that they try to convey through fear. But the danger on the flip side is laughing and thinking it's not serious when it's dead serious. This is the issue we're dealing with. So, Trump has us in this situation now where all of us are thinking, gee, Ronald Reagan seemed like a nice guy. And Doug Ford seemed like the smartest politician on the planet. I mean, how did that happen? I mean, Dougie's down in his man cave this week and just howling. And then Trump was so outraged that he heard the words of Ronald Reagan during a World Series game that he's throwing more tariffs on us. A man who posted a video of him dumping diarrhea on his own citizens. This man is not fit to represent anything except maybe being the voice for the guys on Cell Block D. Right? But there is a real danger in writing it off. And writing off all the fools in MAGA and all the stupid stunts they do. Because it is the fascist playbook. You know, there's things I read that keep me up at night. And I read this quote from Adorno, who said that one of the powers that Hitler had was clever people. The clever people made it easy for barbarians because clever people thought they could handle the barbarians. And we know who the barbarians are. And we can't pretend that it's something that's not going to be real. I have been told by many journalists, well, Trump's just being Trump. It's going to settle down. I was speaking this summer in Mexico. Raul from my team and I went down to meet with the Latin American parliamentarians. And we met with a number of Democratic Congress people. And they told me that Bill Clinton told the Democrat caucus, don't do anything, just wait. They'll miss us. You know, when they're building cages, and you have the power to stop them from building cages, and you do nothing because you think it's not going to be serious, you will end up in those cages. That is what we see, and this is what we understand. So I'm going to give you a couple of things tonight. I don't think I got to let you guys down much. Nobody's coming to save us. Have you figured that out? Yeah. We got her. You're here because we are going to save ourselves. And we are going to save ourselves. And we're going to talk about how we save ourselves. But it's important to look and recognize the danger that's out there. Because a man who will post videos of him dumping feces on his own citizens, a man who would brag about sending helicopters against the people of Chicago. You don't think that at a certain point he would think it would be just as easy to send those helicopters against us? You know that. That's why you're here. So the defense of our nation is going to involve all of us doing our part. I'd like to tell you that I got a big plan. But what we need to recognize is that to restore democracy and the rule of law and decency means we're going to have to rebuild from the grassroots up. That's how it's going to happen. But I also want to be here to tell you the incredible hope that I have. And it's a hope that I have from visiting community after community and seeing determination and seeing pride and seeing people knowing that we don't have to bend down and grovel and kiss the ring, and knowing that we don't have to be afraid. People who know that our diversity is what's going to get us through. So I want to tell you that all across this country, your brothers and sisters are holding the line too. And we're going to hold the line together. So the storm is forming. And the storm is here. And I'd really like to think that Mark Carney's in Singapore and is going to sign a big deal. We're going to come back and life's going to go on. But I don't think that's going to happen. The threat that we're facing is much more existential. It's the breakdown not just of democracy and not just of our trust in each other. It's also the breakdown of our planet that's happening. And so we're under threat from all these things. So no wonder we feel isolated and disoriented. And do you doom scroll? Oh, come on, be honest. Doom scrolling. Stop it. No more doom scrolling. No more waking up in the middle of the night and reaching for your phone and wondering what's happened. We're going to rewire our brains. They're going to do what they are going to do. What we can control is what we're going to do. That's how we rebuild democracy. So to that end, we need to, as we reclaim our flag, we need to reclaim our story. Because our story matters, because we are people rooted in a story. And you know, we aren't the most perfect society. We have done terrible things. I come from territory where the residential school damage, you can see it in the faces of people who went through it. And you can see it in the intergenerational trauma and the suicide crisis. But we've acknowledged it. And we're on a journey together. And we're stronger because we can acknowledge what was done. Because by acknowledging it, we recognize the need to make sure it doesn't happen again, because we are not going to be forgetful people. We're going to know our history. So let's start talking about the kind of nation is nation building. Nation building is not giving freaking Suncor and Imperial another $50 billion in incentives to build yet another pipeline. That's planet burning. Nation building is saying, yeah, if we can direct our money to buy local and regional, why don't we have national food security and national vision of how we live and buy and purchase? That would be nation building. Nation building would be saying, in a country as rich and decent as ours, people don't sleep on the streets anymore. We build homes for people to treat them with the dignity because they are Canadians too. And we don't get to say we're Canadians if we treat people like human garbage. So that's nation building. And those are investments. And Donald Trump and the United States are going to do whatever they are going to do. But they can't defeat us if we are on a path of saying what we are going to do. So that is the task before us. So how do we do that? Well, tonight is part of that. We need to be meeting with each other. We need to be active. We need to be restoring our relationships at the grassroots level. Because if we're strong and we build these web of networks, like the boycott, you can't be defeated. It's impossible. I'm going to tell you a story that really has been sitting with me. This is a book called Moral Ambition by this Dutch writer. And in the book, he tells the story of them trying to figure out what it was that differentiated those who stood up to the Nazis from those who went along with the Nazis. And Mr. Bregman's his name, and Mr. Bregman said that after the war, everybody pretended they were in the resistance. But the reality was very few. And all the systems of government and administration went along with the hunting out and the killing of the Jews. But some people did stand up. And so they did multiple studies. And they thought, well, maybe they were more religious. No, maybe they were not religious. Nope. Maybe they were more left-wing or right-wing. Nope. Maybe they were urban. Maybe they were rural. There was no connecting links as to why some people stood up and protected Jewish families and others didn't. Till they found this one village that's hid more Jewish families than all the rest of Europe. And they found that it was this one man, Arnold Dallas, who in real life was probably a bit of a flake, but he hated Nazis. And he was kind of on the run from them because he was doing all kinds of small acts of resistance and cutting wires and that. And he ended up in this village. And he started pestering people to help. And if you helped, it meant you could get killed. So who wanted to help? But he was relentless. And so they tracked how it happened in the village. And it's a theory of zeros, ones, and twos. Arnold Dallas was the zero. He began by initiating the movement. But it was only successful if he could find the one. And the one was a man named Max Leon, who became his partner in crime. And the two of them began to pester families. Now, 0 and 1 doesn't make 2, because when you have 2, you have 2,000. Because 2 together are a force. So 0 went to the 1 went to finding the 2. Once you found the second person, then from 2 it's to 4 to 8. But this is the really important part of the story. The people who were pestered and bugged and shamed into hiding Jewish families at the risk of their own, the vast majority continued. Only a small minority agreed to help once and didn't do it again. The transformation was that people were asked to help. And when they were asked, they became part of it. And by becoming part of it, they saved all these lives. And I think it is the most simple message for what we're going to deal with in this time of darkness, this time of the monsters. And, my mother is a 1. She called me one day and said, I can't, as a grandmother, watch children die anymore. I'm going to stand out on the street with a sign, with my walker. And she said, I don't care if I get attacked. And the other day she actually was attacked by a man for standing with her sign. But my mother said, I'm going to do this because I have to. I said, what are you going to have on the sign, Mom? She said, a grandmother against genocide. And that is. And my mom has never done anything political in her life. And she just went out in the street. And I think there were 15 grandmothers who came that first. And then 30. And then 40. And then Grandmothers Against Genocide started forming all over. And it's a simple thing. It's just standing on a street with a sign. Not arguing, not fighting. And you might think, what does that do? Well, when we watch the mass starvation of children and all our Western leaders sit on the sidelines, then it falls to us to speak out in the darkness. When we see the injustice that's happening and we think that someone up there who's smarter than us is going to do it, and they don't, it falls to us. And in your community, when you're looking around and saying, why isn't someone doing something? It's because they're waiting for you. That's all I got to give you, folks. But that's all that we're going to need. And I was as frightened as everyone else. But people started reaching out. And that's how it happened. And then people said, would you come to our town and speak? And I did. And I suddenly thought, we're not alone. We're strong. And every town and city I've been in, I get stronger and more sure. Because I see that people are showing up. That people understand the power of the moment. And that the sense of being a Canadian now is about standing up the way our grandparents did to fight fascism. And we're going to fight it in our way, in a Canadian way. And we're not going to be intimidated. And we're not going to be cynical. There's no time for cynicism. And yes, it's that quote from Rebecca Slotnick. You know, hope. Am I optimistic? I am not optimistic at all. Not at all. The storm is going to get worse. But am I hopeful? Hell yeah. Because hope isn't the lottery ticket you clutch on a couch. Hope is the axe that you pick up to bust down that door to save someone. Because you know it has to be done. That's what I believe. So I'm asking you, my friends, that I'm going to be leaving this community, but sure feels like home. But I know that the work goes on. And the work's going on everywhere. And I'm going to end also with one last thing. I hear from people all over the world every day from our work with Meidas Canada. I hear people in every state of the union every single day. And they tell me they are watching Canada because they see in us a determination and a decency, and the fact that we are not intimidated. So we hold the line. It is a fragile line. It's coming for us. They're going to come and they're going to try and break us again and again, and it's not going to be what MAGA does on the other side of the border. It's going to be what they're trying to do here, the same MAGA message. But we hold that line. The world is watching. And we're holding it not just for us, but for the hope of democracy around the world that is under attack. And it stops here. Stops now. Because at the end of the day, my brothers and sisters, we will always be true, north, strong, and free. And we will always be true, north, strong, and free, and that'll never break, we will never bend, and we will never kiss that gangster's ring. So thank you, merci, Mick. Honored to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Merci. Thank you.
Hello everybody, Charlie Angus here on the Meidas Canada Network, your favorite show for anti-fascism, building community, and showing how resistance is done. And you know, one of the important things we're doing with our work, besides talking about resistance, talking about building democracy, is also showing the incredible beauty of this nation and why we are so fierce about defending our country and our nation's values. So we really ask for your support. Please hit subscribe. Help us to get well above 200,000 subscribers. The support we're getting from all over the globe is incredible. We're also asking, if you really like the work I'm doing in terms of analysis, you can check out the Charlie Angus Resistance Substack, where we do deeper dives. And we're a really small team, and we think it's really important that Meidas Canada is out traveling the country, visiting the people, bringing the stories and bringing the place of this beautiful nation to you. So if you want to help support us on that, you can contact info@charlieangus.ca, a contribution to help in the travel, because this is not easy to be able to organize across the country, to get into the communities and to meet the people, but we think this is really part of the work of resistance and building a sense of a global community together. So we're going to keep kicking at the darkness. It's going to bleed daylight. Thank you, merci, and miigwech.